What's up, f***ers? It's Friday, and you know what that means. Welcome back to FLIM Fridays, the show where we take inspiration from Film Riot, who predominantly uses Adobe products, and we recreate their effects in Davinci Resolve. My name's Tyler Seaman. If you haven't been here before, welcome. I hope you enjoy your stay. Grab yourself a cup of coffee, or in my case, it's tea. I'm a little bit under the weather, so I've got myself some blackberry sage with honey, and it's delicious. Recommend you try it if you haven't. Today we're going to be recreating the infected vein tutorial, which was a spur-of-the-moment video they did when they recreated Godzilla's atomic breath. So we're going to be recreating it. I used that joke in the video last time, so you get the idea. We're doing the infected veins in Davinci Resolve. So as you can probably guess, this tutorial uses the Surface Tracker, which is a studio-only tool in Davinci Fusion. So if you don't have Studio, you can probably recreate this. It's just going to take a lot more work. It's a lot easier if you have Studio, though. So just keep that in mind. So you probably noticed that there were a bunch of other effects that were in that little intro video. If you want to learn how to do any of those, leave me a comment down below what you'd like to see. And if you don't, then I did all that work for nothing, so f*** me. I've wasted enough time, let's get into the tutorial. Cut your footage to the portion you want in the edit page and then jump into Fusion. First off, we're going to drop a color space transform node onto the pipeline. This was filmed on a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera 6K, so our color space will be Blackmagic Design Wide Gamut Gen 4.5, and our input gamma will be Blackmagic Design Film Gen 5. We'll set the output color space as Davinci Wide Gamut, and when working with visual effects, the best gamma to work in my opinion, is linear. Casey Ferris and his company Ground Control are a great resource when it comes to learning color spaces and VFX, so if you want to learn more, check out their YouTube channel. You can pick whichever tone mapping method works best for you. In this case, I just went with the Davinci tone mapper. When you're done with that, copy the node, paste another instance of it directly after the first, drag it next to the media out node, and hit the swap button. This will ensure that the comp will be in the same log color space we filmed in when it's sent back to the edit page. Alright, now listen. This is important, so get in here close. A little bit closer. The Surface Tracker is bugged. When you're doing something super CPU or GPU heavy, like VFX, I found that the Surface Tracker likes to crash. A lot. I reached out to the Blackmagic forums, and I even went so far as to reach out to Blackmagic support to get some help with this issue. What's up, Dwayne? Turns out it's just a bug that will get addressed in the next update. When's the next update? I have no f***ing clue. Thanks, Dwayne. But fear not, I found a solution. So if you're gonna surface track anything, you need to do it first, before you add anything else. At least that was how I got it to work. If anybody else has some insight into this problem, please let me know below, because I would love to hear about it. So anyways, drop in a Surface Tracker node. Make sure you're on the first frame you want the effect to take place for the sake of mesh accuracy, and draw the bounds for your desired area. In this case, I started with the neck area. I won't go into the specifics of surface tracking. If you want to learn more about it, why don't you go ahead and check out this video that I did right here. For this situation, after generating your mesh, set the point locations to uniform grid and adjust both spacings to taste. I went with a value of 30 for both. In the track section, set the quality to better and track it in both directions. After you've made sure your track results are good, it might be a good idea to lock the node so no mistakes can be made. Maybe rename the Surface Tracker node just to organize. Then I created another Surface Tracker node and created two separate bounds for each cheek. Continue with the rest as you did with the previous. When I was done, I renamed the Surface Tracker node to Cheeks ST for Surface Tracker. For the veins, I found a texture of some earthy cracks on unsplash.com and brought that into the comp, renaming the media Cracks. I brought in a transparent background node and merged the cracks over the background to set the cracks image to the composition size. I found dropping in a transform node after the cracks node and resizing it to fill the domain helped with the creation process. I dropped in a brightness contrast node and dropped the saturation to 0 to eliminate the color. I boosted the gamma to make it a more uniform looking texture, and I played around with the brightness, contrast, and lift sliders, as well as the threshold handles until I got a black and white image I was happy with. I then finished by dropping an invert color node to make the cracks the effector area. You might have to go back and make some micro adjustments after doing this. I connected this branch to the next surface tracker. Unlock the node if you want to make adjustments. Pro tip. I set the composite mode to screen and played around with the contract, expand, and softness values to make the area fit in. I dropped a color corrector node in after the invert color node and tried to change it to pink, but I hit a bit of a snag. Turns out I had to go back into the brightness contrast node and readjust the threshold handles so the color would appear. Another pro tip, as a wise man once said, first off, we're going to drop a color space transform node onto the pipeline. So be sure to convert your cracks image into the same color space as your footage. We don't know the image's color space, so we're going to assume sRGB for both inputs. Outputs, again, are Davinci wide gamut and linear. If you're a jackass like me, readjust your contrast in your BC node. If you thought to do this beforehand, well, congratulations, you get a cookie. I went ahead and re-added the color corrector node to the pipeline. After this, I created a triple glow setup. The first glow has a high gain, low glow size. The second glow has a medium low gain and double the glow size of the first. The final node, the soft glow, has a standard gain and the largest glow size of the three. So in the film Riot version of this effect, they used the CC glass effect to give that little impression of bulging veins on the neck and the cheeks. Well, Davinci doesn't have CC glass, so we had to get a bit creative with it. I duplicated the next surface tracker and dropped a copy before the first. I added in a transparent background node, then a displace node, connected the background node as the displace's background, and connected the invert color node from the vein texture branch to the displace node's foreground. In the displace node, I played with the light power and light angle values, but I couldn't get the texture to show up on the footage. It looked fine when I viewed it in the displace node itself, but I couldn't get it to show up on the footage. Even copying and pasting the vein texture nodes and creating a new group didn't work. It was driving me nuts. Hey man. Jesus! I bet you needed to boost the background node's alpha channel from Perfect Zero, didn't you? Weird Al Yankovic? What? No, silly. I'm a clone of you. They just gave me hair. Oh. Well, what do I call you? Harold. Oh, damn it. But yes, Harold is correct. All I had to do was bring the background node's alpha channel up from 0 to 0.01, and that gave me the desired effect. I then readjusted the light angle, light power, and spread values to taste. Next, to animate the veins appearance, I added a B-spline node and drew a non-uniform shape around the veins and boosted the soft edge quite a bit. I connected this mask to both neck surface trackers. I copied and pasted another instance of that B-spline and connected it only to the glowing vein surface tracker, setting the paint mode to minimum. I altered the shape of the mask slightly as well, and I made it a little bit thinner. I went back and, using the B-spline's center value, keyframed it so the mask would slowly reveal the bulging vein textures, rest on the neck for a little bit, and then move upwards to disappear. During the bulging veins resting period, I keyframed the glowing veins mask to move upwards, simulating energy passing through the veins. The timing of these will depend on your footage's pacing, so keyframe to your taste. You can use the keyframe window to readjust timing and the spline editor to smooth out the mask's movement using curves. I did this quite often. To give the glow a little texture, I added a fast noise node, adjusted the scale, contrast, and brightness values, brought the seethe rate up to create some movement, and connected it to the mask inputs of the second glow and the soft glow nodes. Make sure in the settings of both glow nodes that you change the channel from alpha to luminance. So hey, while you watch me go back and readjust my settings after doing that, let me tell you about something. Get in here. No. Really get in here. Alright, back off. See this book I've got here? It's great. Alright, that's enough. What do you think about Fat Buddha back here? Yeah, he's pretty cool. Alright, buzz off. So, what do you think about those movements? Pretty smooth, huh? Sultry? Supple even? Kinda like a baby's ass. You're gonna end up on a list. F*** off! So anyways, these zooms and movements were made possible by MrAlexTech and his brand spanking new plugin, Magic Animate V3. There's a paid version and there's a free version, so go check it out. I highly recommend picking up the paid version. It will make your editing experience so much smoother. By the way, he's not paying me to say this or anything, I just really love the tool. So Alex, I will continue making your pictures look stupid. Thanks for the tool. Magic Animate V3, link in the descript, go check it out. Back to the action. So I readjusted all my settings to my taste, grouped the vein texture nodes, and also added underlay to categorize my node trees. Make them pretty colors, don't be so boring. Now we're going to create the facial veins on the cheeks. I copied the vein texture group from the neck vein effect, pasted it over the cheeks surface tracker, and connected it. I added an invert color after the group and set the composite mode in the surface tracker results tab to screen. As before, also in the surface tracker node, I adjusted the contract expand, softness, and motion blur sliders to taste. I opened up the vein texture group and, in the transform node, adjusted the size of the facial veins to be slightly smaller than the neck ones. I copied the color corrector, fast noise, and all 3 glow nodes from the neck vein effect and pasted them, adding them to the facial veins tree. I slightly adjusted the glow settings to taste as well. Next, I copied the displacement and background nodes from the bulging neck veins effect and pasted them, connecting them to a copied cheek surface tracker. As always, I readjusted the settings to taste. For the masking, I created one long B-spline mask that would cover both cheeks, making sure it wasn't completely uniform. I copied and pasted the B-spline mask onto the glowing facial veins connection, reshaped and readjusted the mask to be thinner, and keyframed both masks for an appearance and disappearance effect. Just as a note, it looks way cooler if the glow doesn't move uniformly with the vein bulge effect, but get creative with it and see what you can do. I wasn't planning on explaining the glowing eyes, but what the hell, why not? My computer started chugging a bit, so I disabled the surface tracker nodes to free up some computational power. Pro tip. I added a tracker node and created a tracker for each eyeball. I positioned the crosshair center over the pupil and adjusted the size to fit the iris. Always make sure to adjust the search size as well. I set the adaptive mode to every frame and tracked forward from the first frame that I wanted the effect to begin. Miraculously, the tracker stuck with the eyes even when the eyes closed. I was shocked. I copied and pasted the tracker node and renamed both, one for each eye. In the tracker nodes, be sure to set the operation type to match move, set the pivot type to selected tracker, and select which tracker corresponds to which respective eye. I disconnected the tracker nodes from the main pipeline and set a transparent background node as their background, and merged them back over the main pipeline. I created a new background node and set the color to match the shade of the colored veins. I connected it to one of the tracker nodes and masked it with an ellipse mask, moving the ellipse to cover the entire eye. Another pro tip, as a wise man once said, first off, we're going to drop a color space transform node onto the pipeline. So convert the background into the same color space as the footage using the settings another wise man once said. We'll set the output color space as Davinci wide gamut, and when working with visual effects, the best gamut to work in my opinion, is linear. I then added a B-spline mask to trace out the shape of the eye and set the paint mode to minimum, making sure to give the B-spline a soft edge. Next, I once again copied the glow nodes from the glowing veins branch and pasted them to connect to the eye branch, adjusting the values to taste. I then copied every node except the B-spline from the left eye branch and pasted them to connect to the right eye tracker. Adjust the copied ellipse mask's position to cover the other eye. It's worth noting, by the way, that sometimes positioning can get a bit weird when you introduce different media sizes, so connecting masks to the desired media is the best way to ensure a correct positioning. You'll probably see me trying to figure out a workaround on the footage. Spoiler alert, I couldn't. Create another B-spline to surround the other eye, again setting the paint mode to minimum and giving it a soft edge. To maintain uniformity, I just used an expression to connect the soft edge value to the first B-spline's soft edge value. Copy the glow nodes from the left eye branch, paste, and connect them to the right eye branch. If you're noticing some banding of the colors in the viewer, don't panic, it's just a weird conflict from the LUT I'm putting over the footage. This doesn't affect the actual comp. You'll notice it disappears when I turn the LUT off with this button. It's just for a look. Again, Casey Ferris covers this on his channel. The final addition to the eyes I added was throwing on a lens reflection. I changed the preset to streaks, then I adjusted the stretch and stretch fall off values to suit my taste. Under the reflecting element 2, I adjusted the brightness and position in optical path values to be offset from the initial reflection a little bit. I then copied the lens reflection node from the left eye branch and pasted it over the right eye branch. I adjusted the position and optical path to be offset in a different direction than the first. Lastly, be sure to check the alpha limits effect checkbox on both lens reflection nodes to get rid of the black background. Oh, I also keyframed the shape of both B-splines to close with the eyes at the end of the effect. To finish off, I keyframed the blend on the merge that connects both eye trackers to fade in when the vein energy reached the bottom of the eyes, reaching full opacity when the last wave of energy finishes its climb. You can also keyframe the blend to zero out when the eyes close if you want to be safe. Add some camera movement if you filmed by yourself. Throw on your final color grade and you're golden, child.
Wow, Asian jokes, classic.
No, I've got a Buddha right here. As always, big thanks to Film Riot for the inspiration, and go check out MrAlexTech's Magic Animate V3. Hey, you want to see a close-up of me sneezing?